Hi folks, considering that I haven't done a book haul or a wrap-up this year yet, I thought now might be a good time to do that. These are the books that I have acquired over the past few months, including the first two that I designed and have been published, and it's very, very exciting. So the first one is How We Met by Michelle Acord, which I have briefly mentioned in another video. This is published by HarperCollins and looks like that. I designed the type, I was given the photograph to work with and did the layout for all of this, and the back and the spine as well. The second one is A Fortunate Life by A.B. Facey. This is by Fremantle Press in Australia, in Fremantle in fact. And yeah, I did the illustration and the lettering for this one as well. The next book was a proof copy that I was very kindly sent by Penguin Random House in the UK. The Mermaid in Mrs. Hancock, and I've actually read this one, really enjoyed it. Thought that it was great historical fiction. I will probably talk about that in a wrap-up soon. These next two are very old books that I found while I was doing some research online and accidentally ended up buying some beautiful books. These are from an antiquarian bookshop in Dunedin in New Zealand. The first one is this one here, which is The Early Explorers by Thomas Frost, and the binding is just stunning. This gold foil on the front and on the spine, and it's all beautifully embossed as well. I did buy this purely because of the design, so the next one also fits into that. This one is a bit more modern, I believe, but it's called Ko-Fi Gold, and this is an anthology of, well, it says contemporary New Zealand verse, but not that contemporary anymore. What I love about this one is that when you take the dust jacket off, which I will do, it's got this beautiful pattern underneath, which is also on the dust jacket, but it's not quite as nice as it is underneath. So I'll probably keep the dust jacket on just to keep it tidy, but it's rather beautiful. Speaking of design inspiration, this next book is quite enormous, so you'll have to excuse me for not holding it up the whole time. It's so big and so heavy, and it's all about typography. So it is called Type: A Visual History of Typefaces and Graphic Styles from 1628 to 1938. So it's all vintage stuff, and it's a wonderful resource of just collections of old typography. So as you can see, the cover is lovely and has some foil going on. Next we have Classic Penguin, cover to cover, which is edited by Paul Buckley, and I got this book because I was interviewing Paul Buckley. I actually interviewed him yesterday for a Spine magazine podcast, and that was very, very exciting. So I got this to do some research for that interview. And so Paul Buckley is creative director at Penguin Books, and he covers a lot of the classics. So the Penguin Drop Cap series, the Penguin Deluxe series, which have the deckled edges and the French flaps, lots of those sorts of lovely Penguin special editions that you'll see in bookshops. So this is a collection of those, and I'll show you a few pages from inside. Goes a bit behind the scenes. So these were the Penguin Threads editions, which are lovely. They're all embroidered, and on the inside cover you've got the back of the embroidery as well. Those sorts of details are really highlighted in this. One on the Greek myths there, and there's a whole section on the drop caps. So many pages on these that goes through each design and says a bit about the process. So goodness me, it's pages and pages of it, and then there are just lovely pages like this, which are colourful and show you the whole set. So yeah, all of that there is on the drop caps. So if you like drop caps, then you'll probably like this book too. And if you like book design, then I'd say this is a must-have. I've actually got a few books on Penguin in design on my bookshelf, but I think this is my favourite one, just because of the detail that it goes into on some of the contemporary classic designs. So you know how there have been lots of incredible books recently about women doing awesome stuff, like the Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls books. I got the second book of that, which I'm sure you've seen everywhere, so I won't show that right now, but there's a New Zealand version, which is so amazing. It's I think I might even like it more than the Rebel Girls books, maybe because it feels a bit more personal because they're New Zealand and I know most of the names in there, or a lot of the names, and then there are some that I'm just very excited to learn about as well. So this is called Go Girl, and it comes in this shocking neon orange, and I'll show you the lovely end papers, which have the Hutakawa flowers on this blue background. And the setup of it is very similar to the Rebel Girls books. It tells you a bit about each person. So the story itself goes over 2 pages, and then there's an illustration. So unlike the Rebel Girls book where you have illustration and story, this has 4 pages on each woman, which is just fantastic. I will show you the Catherine Mansfield one because you know how much I love Catherine Mansfield. Here we go. And then, wait for it. Ah! How lovely is that? I'm just so chuffed that this book exists. Also, Lord is in here. And speaking of inspirational women, I bought this one. This is one of the new collection of Tove Jansson's original covers of the Moomin books. So they're pretty much, I think that they're pretty faithful reproductions. And how lovely are they? The reason that I got this is for inspiration for a new project that I'm doing that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet, but I'm so excited about. And it's to do with cover design. I don't really think of Tove Jansson as being a cover designer, but of course she did all of her own covers because she did all of her own illustrations, and the typography is hers, and it's all just very, very lovely, and everything about this book just feels beautiful as well. The paper that it's printed on, it's an uncoated, quite a almost rough feeling paper, and you take the dust jacket off and it looks like that underneath. It's got a sad little Moomin. The next book I also bought because of the cover primarily, and this is making me sound like I don't really read books, I just look at them. I do read books, but I'm also a book designer, so that is why I'm very interested in the production and design of books. And this is a book by Sarah Wilson. It's called First We Make the Beast Beautiful, a new story about anxiety. And I don't tend to pick up books about psychology or self-help. They tend to make me feel quite anxious just looking at them. But this is practically perfect in every way. I mean, it's this kind of cloth bound texture on the front. It's not cloth bound, but it's a similar thing. It's got a bit of texture there, and it's got silver foil, this beautiful illustration of an octopus, and then what must be a neon spot colour which goes all the way round, as does the foil on the back, and the end papers also have that same neon spot colour. This is produced by Pan Macmillan, and I've started reading it. It's very interesting. It's quite a new or different perspective on the subject of anxiety. So I'm finding it quite interesting and not anxiety inducing at the moment, which is nice because like I say, just looking at the self-help section in a bookshop makes me anxious. As I've said, I've been doing these Spine Magazine podcast interviews with designers. So I had Paul Buckley on the podcast this week, and a couple of weeks ago I interviewed Coralie Bickford Smith, who is an illustrator and designer, and she did these 2 books, as well as the Penguin clothbound classics and the Penguin English Library editions and those beautiful editions of The Great Gatsby and other F. Scott Fitzgerald books, and oh, all of her stuff is just stunning. And I did have this one on my shelf back in the UK, but for some reason I left it there. I don't know, but I had to repurchase it. Also, it's just so beautiful. And I hadn't got this because when it came out last year, I hadn't sort of properly started my business, and I didn't have much cash at that point. So these two books, just beautiful. In some ways I don't think they're really children's books, although they can be appreciated by children, but I mean especially the cloth bound editions. The paperbacks are more aimed towards children, I think, and we talk about that a bit in the interview, which will be going up probably in July. But yeah, obviously the production of these is beautiful. They're done by Particular Books, which is an imprint of Penguin as well. Okay, 2 more books to go. This one here is kind of what I've been looking for, and it's the closest thing to what I've been looking for, which is a book all about end papers. It's called An Anthology of Decorated Papers, and it's by Thames and Hudson, and they do amazing stuff. And it's just a selection of different paper designs from, does it have a time period? It's drawing on the Olga Hirsch collection at the British Library, and it includes decorated papers from wrappers, end papers, backs of playing cards, lining for chests and cases. So real mix of stuff. And I thought for sort of pattern design inspiration, it's got lots of neat stuff and lots of different techniques as well. You've got your kind of marbled end paper looks there. But there's also some more like William Morris style stuff, so you have more like wallpapers and things like that. So that's a great resource, and it was done in collaboration with the British Library. So I mean, Thames and Hudson and the British Library, dream team. Final book I spotted on my way out of the bookshop, and I kind of couldn't leave without it. So this is a book all about botanical wall charts, which are scientific illustrations of plants that would be hung up on walls. I mean, what more could you want in a book? And it's arranged by plant family. So if you're interested in a particular plant, then you can look at it like that. So you've got poppy family, rose family, daisy family. I love the ones with dark backgrounds in particular, but the light ones are lovely too. So that is the end of this haul. I'll probably be doing another one before too long, because our local book fair is happening next week. It starts on Saturday. I'm very excited about going and finding hopefully some botanical books and maybe some old sort of hardback and cloth bound books. Hey Lyra there. If you want to find my work online, the best place to look is my website, which is, hey, you little pest, hollydundesign.com. I've got some new products happening very soon, so if you want to learn more about those, then have a look at my latest vlog where I show some samples. And subscribe if you want to see more hauls like this, and also more products that I will be releasing in the next few weeks. And if you want to be the first to know about that, I have an email newsletter as well. Goodness me, this is a lot of self-promotion, Lyra. I don't know if I can take it. Hey? What do you reckon? Oh, also there's more of Lyra, who is very cute. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Bye! Can you look at the camera, please? No. You are filthy, Lyra. Look at your collar. It's just all mud. I thought you were a black and white dog, but now you're a black and brown dog. Oh dear. You're going to be getting me all grubby too. Yeah. All right. Good girl.